Dozens of students protested changes in immigration enforcement. We'll take you there.
We'll also show you what used to be a diversity office on campus and what's there now.
Hey, you know that video streaming app we can't mention? It's named for the sound a clock makes. That's not the only one banned on campus.
And you don't have to like baseball. You don't have to love the game of baseball. You just have to be interested in history, in American history, because it's a big part of American history, and that should never be forgotten.
Texas State hosted a unique and really interesting event for Black History Month. Let's just say it was a hit.
Hi, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ava Gibson.
I'm Ashley Waters. This is Bobcat Update. Under the new presidential administration, there's a big focus on migrants who come to the U.S. without legal documentation. That came with a big change in policy about colleges.
Campuses were off limits to immigration agents for the last 4 years. Not anymore. Some students at Texas State were upset enough about the change to organize a protest last month. Reporter Brandon Nuevo takes us there.
Say it once, say it twice, we will not put up with ICE. Say it once, say it twice, we will not put up with ICE. Say it once, say
On February 5th, dozens of students gathered under the Fighting Stallions in the Quad, protesting the recent immigration enforcement, demanding an end to it, and helping those affected learn about their rights and protections. Many protesters say the presence of ICE in their communities creates anxiety for students and families. Dan Weber is a former veteran. He served 2 tours in the Marine Corps and is now attending Texas State University. Dan came to the protest to encourage more people to speak out against the enforcement.
While speaking out against something and having your voice heard has power to organize and speak for something together, all the different groups on campus, all the different individuals, the teachers, the faculty, even the police officers at UPD, everybody together has the ability and the power to actually affect change.
Dan says his time in the Marine Corps and law enforcement has shaped his perspective on the immigration enforcement.
From 2008 to 2012, I was in the Marine Corps and deployed twice with people of all nationalities, some of whom were on their green cards, which today would be worried about being deported. When I got out, I was part of the Hays County Sheriff's Office from 2015 to about 2020. From there, it is impossible not to see that all people are just people.
Other students are more fearful about the issue. Wesley Jackson, a student at Texas State, says they hope for an end to these policies.
I am really hoping to see the ending of the mass deportations, and I want to bring back birthright citizenship and things like that. And honestly, I just want people to start leaving people alone.
In response to the protest, Texas State has released a statement. Their official response is that they are in support of the First Amendment, which protects the students' right to protest. The university also said that they are to follow federal and state laws. And what would happen if ICE comes onto the campus? Instructors have been told to refer any ICE agents to the UPD and to contact their supervisor. While the university focuses on legal compliance and procedural guidance, protesters say they will continue to advocate for their concerns. This is Bobcat Update. I'm Brandon Nuevo. Have a good day, and back to the studio.
Protesters gathered outside Columbia University over the weekend to protest the arrest of a university graduate.
Mahmoud Khalil is facing deportation for leading pro-Palestinian protests over the last year. Khalil was arrested last weekend inside a dorm on the Columbia campus. Now he's in an immigration detention center in Louisiana. Khalil is from Syria. He isn't in the U.S. on his student visa. He has a green card, which means he's a legal resident. The U.S. State Department is working to revoke that green card and deport him to Syria. Protesters also gathered closer to home this weekend. They were a lot more vocal here. In North Austin, about 100 protesters showed up Saturday morning to protest in front of a Tesla dealership. They gathered at 10 a.m. at Highway 183 and McNeil Road. They were there to protest the role of Tesla CEO Elon Musk in President Trump's administration. Musk leads the controversial Department of Government Efficiency, a department whose goal is to shrink the federal government through mass layoffs. Some protesters evoked Nazi imagery in their signs and complained about the lack of oversight for the unelected Musk. At one point, conservative provocateur Alex Jones showed up to the counter-protest. Jones is based in Austin and created InfoWars, a multimedia site known for promoting conspiracies. He arrived in a custom Tesla Cybertruck, chanting in favor of Musk and Trump. This led to vocal protests back and forth, but Jones left without incident.
Legal changes from state lawmakers last year also meant changes on campus. In the last legislative session 2 years ago, Texas lawmakers made it illegal for state universities to have DEI offices. These were resources to help students of color in the LGBT community. Texas State had a DEI office, not anymore.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs have played a crucial role in shaping college campuses, fostering inclusivity and providing opportunities for students of all backgrounds. But across the country, universities have been making big changes, some scaling back and others reconstructing. Texas State University is among them to recently rename their DEI office to Shirley Ruth Harris, the first Black woman to graduate from the university. But what do these changes really mean for students?
If DEI was taken from Texas University, I will potentially lose my organization called the Black Student Alliance.
For years, DEI programs at Texas State have provided mentorship, scholarship, and a safe space for students of all backgrounds. Many say these initiatives have shaped their college experience and helped them create a broader community.
I will say that before I joined the Alliance, I wasn't really feeling in school at first because I had no form of, I had no form of group or belonging. I was always in my dorm or always, isolated, but ever since I joined, I feel like I have a family now.
As Texas State and other universities navigate these changes, students still remain engaged in the conversation, ensuring that inclusion and representation stays at front. Reporting from Texas State, I'm Taylor Pearson with Bobcat News.
There are still conversations about diversity on campus. Professors can lecture about it, and the university hosted events for Black History Month in February. Later in this newscast, we'll have a story about one of those presentations. One of our reporters went to see a screening of a new film about the history of Black baseball players, which screened in the Student Center. Reporter Osmara Valles talked with the filmmaker and has your ticket to the screening coming up.
A lot of us in the College of Fine Arts and Communication use photo and video gear. Some of us use it a lot. Well, there are offices set up to house and manage a bunch of that camera gear to help us learn and tell stories in two places. Reporter Rick Landis takes us backstage in both.
Here at Texas State University, over the last few years, our film department has acquired a new suite of high-powered camera equipment to lend to students for school-related projects. Let's go check it out.
The School of Journalism and Mass Communication, as well as the Film Den here at Texas State, have introduced new ways for students to check out equipment. I sat down with SJMC's Zoe Zamora and the Film Den's Reggie Fortson to learn more.
There's a wide variety of what we offer now. We have a lot of updated equipment as well as new age equipment as far as the focusing, lighting, everything goes. So it would better help out the students by basically opening up a new world of what they can create.
Students can check out photojournalism cameras, film cameras, lenses, different microphones, recording equipment. We have lighting equipment, we have tripods, we have anything like a student in mass communication and journalism would want.
Texas State is committed to preparing students for the industry by providing access to the latest equipment. Many students believe these new resources give them hands-on experience with the tools they'll use in their careers.
I was not capable of making any of my own films before having access to this equipment, so quite a bit actually.
Electronic media students can reserve equipment through the SJMC website, while film students can check out gear via the Film Den website. For Bobcat Update, I'm Ricky Landis.
We've all seen politicians struggle to agree with each other, especially between two political parties. But Texas State senators just agreed to give teachers a big raise. How many senators voted for it all? 31 of them. Senate Bill 26 passed unanimously. It would set aside over $4 billion just to give raises to teachers. The raise would range from $2,500 a year for some teachers in big cities, and up to $10,000 a year for the most experienced teacher in rural school districts. This isn't a done deal yet. It still has to pass in the Texas House. but some state senators said they made history with the unanimous vote. Hey Ava, do you use that 15-second short video app that we're not supposed to mention?
TikTok? Yeah, like all the time.
And we're just kidding about not being able to say it out loud.
But it is banned by Texas lawmakers on all state equipment, including Wi-Fi networks at state universities like Texas State. And if you try to get around the ban by using other apps like Red Note or Lemon 8, you're about to be out of luck.
And as reporter Kay Knowles shows, it's not the only app that's banned.
It's been over a year since the university banned TikTok, but what you might not know is that the university also recently banned some of ByteDance's other social media products, like Red Note and Lemonade. They did so and made the apps unusable on campus Wi-Fi recently to comply with orders from Governor Abbott, so we went around to ask some students how they felt about the extension on the ban.
You're not alone if you've been struggling with the fact that you can't use TikTok on campus for the last year or so. It's been the experience for quite a few students.
Yeah, when TikTok first got banned, she got very emotional and she started crying.
But if you're one of the few who tried to get on Red Note or Lemonade to try to get around the ban, you're about to be out of luck. The administration folks here in J.C. Kellum sent out an email at the beginning of the month to let students and staff know that they were banning the apps on campus networks to comply with Governor Abbott's update to Texas's list of prohibited technologies.
Governor has accused the companies who own these apps, that's ByteDance and Xingyan Information Technologies, of being too close in proximity to China's communist government. The primary issue, according to a statement he gave, is that the data collected from these apps could be used to target critical infrastructure or leave the state vulnerable to espionage operations.
The students don't think it's that dangerous, though.
Not as much as, other apps, like Facebook had, a big security risk,
Not gonna lie, I don't trust a damn thing that they say.
We also had to ask, does the ban actually stop them from using these apps on campus?
No, because you can just turn off your Wi-Fi.
To get a better idea of the university's position, we spoke to Daniel Owen, chief of Texas State's Information Security Office. He told us that the university was doing its best to act in compliance with the federal and state regulations set before them, and that more than social media was affected in the ban. Certain AI applications like DeepSeek and trading platforms like Webull, and even drones made by manufacturer DJI have been prohibited. According to Owen, the university is mainly focused on stopping employees from using the technologies and blocking them on campus networks. Their jurisdiction ends there. What happens on students' phones on their own mobile data stays on their phones. So for now, it looks like people here on campus are still safe to scroll their feeds for the foreseeable future. Here on campus, this has been Kay Knoll for Bobcat Update.
Ava, do you like to read?
I do. I'm really into novels lately, but textbooks, not so much.
Huh, same.
But somebody's reading books because one chain of bookstores is doing so well, they just opened a new store. What's their secret when lots of other bookstores are struggling?
We have another secret for you. Let's just say it won't wreck your wallet.
A filmmaker takes a unique swing at American history.
And the quad got a little nuts recently. We'll show you why.
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate
Freedom of the press is about your right to know. It's about your right to be informed. Today, there are real threats to press freedom and your right to know about the world around us. We must protect our right to know, no matter what kind of news is important to you. Before it's too late, understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.
We hinted at a bookstore that can somehow stand up to Amazon, Kindle, Google, and however else we read books.
And sometimes without paying for them. Hey, I'm talking about libraries. So how come one bookstore chain isn't just stable, it's growing?
Reporter Alyssa Trujillo takes us inside Barnes & Noble and talks with an expert about how the company just opened another store.
While many bookstores are closing their doors, Barnes & Noble is taking a different approach. This October, a new location is set to open at South Park Meadows Shopping Center as part of a nationwide expansion, despite today's economic challenges. So what's driving this recent resurgence in bookstores? The answer? Social media. In recent years, the rise of Amazon and online shopping, combined with the impact of the pandemic, left many chain and independent bookstores struggling to stay afloat. However, social media, particularly platforms like TikTok, has ignited an interest in the love for physical books once again. What was once seen as a threat to bookstores is now driving the revival as readers discover the joy of browsing shelves and visiting local shops.
One of the things that we're seeing with this kind of resurgence of interest in bookstores is really subject to several factors. The first is the sense of loneliness that people felt during the pandemic. There's also the book talk phenomenon that we see drawing from TikTok, where people are filming videos. And so you've got that kind of social media push.
Just last month, Half Price Books closed its North Austin location, highlighting the challenges faced by many brick-and-mortar stores today. But Barnes & Noble is part of a larger trend. People aren't just buying books, they're seeking out experiences.
The reason why I come to Barnes & Noble is because there's a cafe attached to it, and I love their kids section is very nostalgic for me. So having my iced coffee and just walking around is definitely just a vibe.
A vibe you can't find online. But it's not just the books or cafe. From bestsellers to hidden gems, stores like Barnes & Noble offer a treasure trove of nerdy delights that keep the customers coming back for more.
I'm a super nerd and I love Funko Pops, so I'm constantly going towards the back.
Barnes & Noble at South Park Meadows is set to open this October, signaling a major step in the revival of bookstores nationwide. This is Alyssa Trujillo, Bobcat Update.
Black History Month happens every February, and Texas State hosted a series of events all month, including one that was unique.
A couple of filmmakers took a swing at telling the story of Black Americans making history in a way we don't hear much about, playing baseball. Reporter Osmana Valles brings us off the bench and into the game.
At Texas State, the Student Involvement and Engagement Organization hosted a handful of events during the month of February in honor of Black History Month. One event highlighted the impact of Black baseball leagues in America and how they shaped the sport we love today. The event showcased a film directed by Brian Motley, who discussed the history of the leagues and why they were significant during the Civil Rights period.
I'm one of the producers of this film, The League, and also I'm a lecturer, and I've been doing lectures at many colleges through the years. So I think the documentary gives a good overall portrait of what the leagues were all about, but there's so much more to learn. And you don't have to like baseball. You don't have to love the game of baseball. You just have to be interested in history, in American history, because it's a big part of American history, and that should never be forgotten and never be taken for granted.
With the showcase, Student Involvement wanted students to connect with Black culture and displays the importance of progression that has been made in history.
Since I've been here, we've only done one Black History Month event in February, and so this year was something new. And we did an opener, a middle, and an ending event, and so this is one of those middle events, and so this is something that we haven't done before in the past I'm aware of, and so I thought it would be nice to touch on a different aspect of Black history. So this time we're talking about baseball, sports, versus just overall history.
Although Black History Month is coming to an end, the organization still has more events stored for Texas State students. Until next time, I'm Osmana Valles for Bobcat Update.
A couple of sports teams just wrapped up their seasons: men's and women's basketball, indoor track and field.
But some others are still playing ball, including baseball, softball, soccer, golf. RJ Smith is here to wrap up all the action. RJ?
Thanks. And yeah, there's a lot going on in Bobcat sports. The Texas State men's basketball team is out of the Sun Belt tournament. The Bobcats fell to Old Dominion 64-61, ending their season at 16 wins and 16 losses. The women's team also came up short, losing to Marshall 68-62 and closing the year at 13-17. The Texas State baseball hopes to bounce back after finishing last season at 27-29. They're off to a slow start at 8-12. Meanwhile, softball is off to a hot start. After a 47-15 season last year, they've already jumped to 18-6 this season. The Texas State women's soccer team ended last season with 12 wins, 5 losses, and 5 ties. Their spring schedule begins soon with a match against Navarro College on March 29th. Spring football is just around the corner. The Bobcats take the field for their annual spring game on April 13th. They're coming off a big win in the First Responder Bowl, beating North Texas 30-28. Last thing, Ava, the Bobcats football schedule is out for the fall. The season opens with a home game against Eastern Michigan August 30th here at UFCU Stadium. That's it for sports.
Hoping we can get to a third straight bowl game. Thanks, RJ.
We've had some wild weather over the last couple of months. It was crazy windy a couple times over the last 2 weeks. And last month we had this. San Marcos was covered in a layer of snow, not once, but twice, on February 19th and again just 3 days later on the 22nd. You can see that it was really coming down before dawn on the 22nd. It was tricky driving for morning commuters in rush hour, and some schools had a delayed start. It was warm enough during the day that the snow didn't stay around for long, but it did get below freezing each night for that week, a rare sight in Central Texas that led many residents to cover their plants. And some of our furry friends just weren't having it. And wind speeds reached over 50 miles an hour at times in the first week in March, then whipped up again last week. The combination of these gusts and the drought conditions contributed to a wildfire in Fredericksburg, west of San Marcos. Firefighters warned everybody to not start any fires outside, not even the grill, and to keep cigarette butts away from the grass. And the San Marcos River is a few feet below normal and has been for 4 years. The Texas State Comptroller says we entered our current drought in 2021. City of San Marcos is currently under Stage 3 drought restrictions. The highest is Stage 4. There's still enough water for us to jump in the river at graduation next month. Just plan to be careful. And if swimming isn't your favorite way to exercise, we may have some other options for you.
Yeah, the rec has a bunch of choices, and there's a big change from last year. All the classes are free.
Ava and I got over there to check it out.
Hey Bobcats, I'm here at Texas State Rec Center taking a cycle class. From yoga to rock climbing and everything in between, Texas State has decided to make fitness classes for free. And ever since we've seen free classes, the rec has been seeing more students get active.
Texas State University students can now break a sweat without breaking the bank. The Recreation Center has announced that all group fitness classes are now free for students, eliminating the extra fees that were previously required to participate. The REC's Assistant Director for Fitness and Wellness, Kyle Dean, says that ever since terminating the cost, all classes have seen double the number of participants in group fitness classes.
We have been averaging about 18 to 20 a class. And so all of our classes, actually, it's to a point now where we're running out of equipment for classes just because it's just completely packed. So we're having to order some more equipment right now, but it's been a really good problem. We're actually looking to double the amount of classes that we offer going into the fall because of it. There's a huge push right now to bring more to students. So yeah, it's good.
Dean says that since the cost has been lifted, it won't affect the REC's budget since students' tuition fees will cover the cost. The decision aligns with the REC's goal to promoting overall student well-being and increasing participation in health-focused activities on campus. Cycle instructor Rachel Oberman says removing a financial barrier encourages more people to get more involved in fitness.
So the reason why the rec lifted the cost of Group X classes and group fitness classes is because we want Texas State students to use their recreation center and take advantage of the classes that are available to them and all the other things that we have here, like climbing center, the new weight room that's coming in with the new equipment, and even like our Shake Smart, we have a bunch of healthy, nutritious food there as well.
Many students have expressed excitement about the change. Texas State freshman Ava Puente says the REC's fitness classes has helped her navigate an active lifestyle.
I'm not good at knowing what to do on my own, so having people coach me through it has helped me to know what to do even when I want to work out outside of the group fitness classes. So it gives me a better understanding of how to work out and better myself.
For more details, including class schedules and offering, visit the Texas State Campus Recreation website. I'm Ashley Waters for Bobcat Update in San Marcos.
If you're a peanut lover, you might have seen the Planters Peanut Mobile on the quad at the end of February.
It was there as a part of PR Day, a day to celebrate public relation professionals. Students went nuts for the lovable Mr. Peanut that was parked on the quad. Of course, students were able to grab a snack and take photos with the Planters Mobile. I just wish we could park there.
I know, right? That's all we have for this edition of Bobcat Update. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time.
We'll be back with more news for students by students. We'll see you soon.